If you have human data validation of the target you're working on, the probability of failure is 2 to 3 times less. And one of the most important aspects of human validation is the use of genetics.
Human genetics evidence is very important in our process in early drug discovery to find new targets, which we can translate then in the long run into new therapeutic principles.
Being able to double or quadruple our success rate is a huge advantage to our patients and being able to get drugs to them faster.
With the Alliance for Genomic Discovery, we're going to be able to look at 250,000 individuals with whole genome sequencing data linked to such deep electronic medical records, to look at subtypes of disease, to look at laboratory values and measurements done on patients, to look at therapies given to those patients and how the patients respond to those therapies.
You go from having rudimentary diagnosis to much more high-quality diagnosis. And you also have time. This cohort is over decades.
In the Alliance for Genomic Discovery, we see much better representation of diverse ancestries that really have been underrepresented to date.
For us who have been focused in our studies mostly on people of European descent, it also contains a large number of people of African origin as well as Hispanic origin, etc. When you find a variant in the African genome that correlates with the disease, you are much closer to the gene that actually confers the risk than you do in the European genome.
And that information basically cuts the regions of the genome up into smaller and smaller pieces. And why that's important is it helps us get to understand what's the causal gene or genes much more efficiently.
We have already started to make discoveries about variants in the human genome that correlates with very important diseases. This should give us a value for all of the common diseases of man.
So we've been talking with partners at Illumina and NashBio for a long time as they conceived their idea and then developed the study. They've been committed, responsive, ambitious. And as an example, literally the day after we signed the agreement, they were on site working with me and the team to try and get us access to the data and use the resource. It's fantastic.
We actually had energetic, interesting discussions when we joined this project, and I'm very pleased with the fact that we had those interactions, and I'm very pleased with the outcome.
We also feel that they have been very collaborative at all times, taking a lot of discussions into account and also trying to provide the most relevant answers to the questions we have posed.
We actually started to work with Illumina almost before Illumina came into being. We helped them with their first genotyping chips. So we have had an unbelievably long-standing, extraordinarily productive relationship with them, and it has always been very nice.
Well, some projects are just too big, too ambitious for any one organization to achieve alone, and I think the Alliance for Genomic Discovery is one of those.
The consortium brings together a fantastic new cohort where we can actually engage with other pharmaceutical partners.
Once you have all of this data in your hands, your ability to analyze the data intelligently is going to give you the competitive advantage.
So what you're seeing is a recognition that the only way we can do better for our patients is to come together and share the risk and share the benefit of understanding what causes disease.
So collaboration like this is going to decrease the cost for each company to participate, and our hope is that it's going to translate into a lower price of drugs. I think that the value of this collection is of course going to increase dramatically if on the top of the genetics we will do proteomics, and on top of that we will do transcriptomics, and on the top of that we will begin to use artificial intelligence models to bring all of these data together in a multi-model analysis.
As we have a better definition of disease and we really know what causes the disease, that opens the door for a cure. That's no longer symptomatology treatment. That's curing because you actually know causality.
We are not just trying to discover drug targets. We are trying to discover biomarkers that can be used to follow patients to stratify into clinical trials. The use of this data in drug discovery and development is absolutely boundless.